Naughty Dog, you know them, I know them, we all know them. They're very well liked in the video game community. At least I feel that way anyway. I feel like it's been that way for a very long time, like decades even. They are responsible for creating such titles as the original Crash Bandicoot trilogy, a bunch of Jak and Dexter games, and even more recently the Uncharted games and the Last of Us games. They have very critically acclaimed games. They do great work, they've done great work, so much so in fact that Sony actually bought them out in 2001, so in case you were curious, yeah, that's why all of the Uncharted and Last of Us games are PlayStation exclusives. Now, funny enough, today I've actually been seeing a lot of reports about how there are fresh rumors that are saying that the new PlayStation exclusive game is going to be revealed within the next week or two now, but from what I can see, that is a multiplayer game, so probably not Naughty Dog. So the question is, yeah, what is Naughty Dog really up to these days? They have obviously found a ton of success with the Last of Us games. It has already been 4 years now since The Last of Us 2 was released in 2020. That was a super critically acclaimed game, and since then they really haven't had anything besides a few remakes. Now, with The Last of Us and Uncharted being their main roster of games within the past decade or two now, it's very obvious that they are great at these storytelling games. Obviously, at their core, Uncharted and The Last of Us are action-adventure type games, but from what I understand, they rely heavily on their story component. All of the critical acclaim that I've heard about these games talks a lot about the storytelling. It's very good. So obviously their next title, whether it is a Last of Us Part 3 or another Uncharted game or its own IP, it's probably going to rely very heavily on storytelling. It's probably going to do very good at the storytelling aspect of it. But Neil Druckmann, the studio head of Naughty Dog, he actually came out in an interview very recently now and talked a bit, some of it was vague, but still very, very interesting. Talked a lot about what we can expect from Naughty Dog going forward, specifically with their storytelling aspect of their games. Now, hopefully this doesn't roll too many eyes, but Neil Druckmann talked a lot about AI and how this is something that can really push the storytelling component of video games going forward, while obviously being very careful about how he chose to phrase a lot of his wording, because I know a lot of people aren't super big on AI. He talked about how they are definitely going to use AI to change storytelling in their games, and he even said that it will, quote, push the boundaries of storytelling. And then later on in the interview, he was talking about Naughty Dog's next title, without actually saying what this is going to be. He was, vague. But he said that their next game could, quote, redefine mainstream perceptions of gaming. Now, to me, with what he is saying about AI revolutionizing storytelling, and then with him talking about how their next title is going to redefine mainstream perceptions of gaming, to me, I think that with their next title, with Naughty Dog's next game, not only are they focusing a lot on the storytelling, but they're going to change it up a ton with the use of AI. Yeah, this is actually something that people have been experimenting a lot with recently, and it's very fascinating. There is a Skyrim mod, for example, that is like over a year now in the making. It's very cool. It's basically where you can talk to any NPC in the game, and it uses AI to generate their responses, kind of like, ChatGPT. Now, to some, that might sound a little dull and boring and stupid, and, yeah, maybe it is. Maybe it kind of is, at its surface level. But I think something like this, but better and far more advanced, I think this is what Neil Druckmann is talking about when he is talking about revolutionizing storytelling within games. If you think about it, games, ever since they've really introduced, storytelling in games, and even as it got way more advanced with, dialogue options, and with, things you do in the game, that can kind of change the way that the game ends, that sort of thing. That's as far as it's really gotten, and of course that is very impressive, but I think this is going to be something that is going to broaden the horizons even more, so much so that it's going to make the possibilities in these story-driven games limitless. Yeah, there are a ton of very well-deserved criticisms of AI. Yeah, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say it's all good stuff, but I don't know, I think I kind of get a feel of what Neil Druckmann is talking about here. Give it 5, 6, 7 years, and just the way that we play games could be changed forever. It's crazy. Even though his statements were quite vague, I am extremely excited to see what Naughty Dog is going to be pumping out next, because it sounds like they have got something planned, something that is going to really change how story-driven games are played going forward.